he know, and when did he know it? That troubling question already coming up for Boston Mayor Marty Walsh amidst an FBI investigation into possible extortion relating to hiring union workers.
I was surprised about the indictment.
Were you shocked?
I was shocked.
Do you have any building sense of unease about how the mayor is conducting himself?
A little bit, I guess, yes, yeah. I'd like him to talk about that.
This is a person that he elected to his cabinet, then people will have questions about how he's vetting the folks that he puts into these positions.
But I think he's a good mayor, and I think he's pro-business. So hopefully these accusations prove to be false.
No?
I think he's doing an all right job.
I think the facts will come out. If he's telling the truth, that nothing happened, he has nothing to hide by not stating the truth.
See, here's the thing. Today's OTR political analysts are quite shy. They rarely share their opinions. Democrat Marianne Marsh and Republican Jenny Buckingham. So go ahead, ladies. Just let it happen.
We won't even ask
Put it
any
on the
questions.
table.
Oh, come on.
You're ready to go.
Okay, let's start with the mayor. How much political and how much legal trouble do you think he really is in?
I think the more you learn about this, the less it seems Marty Walsh is the one who's in trouble here. And I think in the end of it looks like he's probably going to be fine. That's not to say others may not have done something wrong, but I think he is. I think the real test here is how well can he do his job while this investigation's going on. And I think the role model here is Bob DeLeo, the Speaker of the House, who has been under investigation pretty much the whole time he's been Speaker, yet it has not impeded his ability to be a really effective Speaker of the House. And if Marty Walsh can do that, he gets reelected.
Do you see that's the way it's going to go?
I think we don't know yet because we don't have all the facts. We don't know where the U.S. Attorney is going to take this. I will say that Marty Walsh's administration does need to stop fighting the Boston Globe, for example, over turning over documents. That's just self-inflicted wounds. Be as open as you can and then, keep your head down and keep working, but stop fighting with the people who are writing the stories.
All right, 2 words now. Item 2 this morning. Bill Weld. We turn another local politician. The question, Ginny, is how long is a lifetime when you're living in Weld's world?
Having lived in Weld's world
That's why I'm asking you the
for
question.
many years, this didn't surprise me at all. I mean, Bill Weld has had his eye on the national stage since I've met him. And in 1994, he seriously considered running for president himself as a Republican. He's a man in the arena. He has something to say. In this crazy year, he offers an interesting alternative.
But do you see him really not becoming a Republican ever again and remaining a libertarian?
I am one who actually watched that convention.
Oh, you're the one.
Two of us
Oh, there are two.
Two of us did.
And I saw him swear, not once but twice, that he was a libertarian for life.
Do you take him for his word, Marianne?
Look, I thought I killed him 20 years ago, okay? I thought he was done and over with in the Kerry Weld fight where Ginny and I and Rob all fought tooth and nail, and I thought his career was over. But he keeps coming back like that bad guest, that keeps coming to your house, who you don't want to come back again. He keeps showing up on the doorstep, and it looks less appealing every time he shows up. So how this ends, I don't think it ends well for Bill Weld, but I don't think Bill Weld cares because he's always been a dilettante.
Can't you reward persistence? I mean,
not in this case, no.
Okay.
Not when the country's future's at stake and he's trying to drive this to the
I watched him
Republican
do an
House.
interview with the New York Times with Gary Johnson yesterday. The guy dominates the room, and that's one thing that hasn't changed. He's a brilliant guy who's very well spoken and has something to say.
So is the ticket reversed? Should it be reversed? I mean, is it?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
Won't matter.
He has not been governor for what? How long? And he still dominates my life daily. Exit 16 Turnpike. That's all I have to say.
My favorite moment of the '96 campaign.
Favorite moment every day.
We're talking about sneaking down the toll plaza.
And that
Best
did
thing
not
ever.
work. Did not work.
Okay, the California primaries in a couple of days, and Hillary Clinton is in a tight race there, but she did take time to fly in here to raise money this past week. What's to say about her financial situation and how far, what she has to face when she really faces a real opponent?
I think she had a better May from all accounts on the fundraising front, and I don't think that's going to be her problem. Her problem seems to be getting her base to want her to be their standard bearer. Sure, she's going to probably clinch the nomination this coming week, but Bernie Sanders isn't going away, and people aren't rallying behind her. Like, oddly, people are rallying behind, on the Republican side, Donald Trump.
I have a feeling Marianne Marsh disagrees with you. Am I right about that?
Well, first of all, she was smart to come here to raise the money because she's raising it for the general election and for Democratic committees across the country in states that really matter in terms of electoral votes and winning back the Senate. So good for her, smart, not taking the eye off the ball. That said, Hillary Clinton is the nominee of the Democratic Party, period, end of sentence. It will be official 8:01 seconds after the New Jersey primary closes out. And I have no doubt at that point, a lot of people are going to put a lot of pressure on Bernie Sanders to get out of the race. But what this shows...
What if Bernie Sanders wins California, the largest state in the union?
He can't be the nominee.
I know, but doesn't that say something?
Here's what it says. Hillary Clinton beat Barack Obama in the California primary in 2008. Who went on to be the nominee and be the president?
He's still
Barack
president.
Obama.
It
That's
says
right.
she's an epically weak candidate, is
No,
what it says.
she's killing him.
Let's move on to the next item.
Yeah.
Donald Trump laid into the media this week a clear defensive move when forced to quickly pull in the money for veterans that he had promised months ago. Here's what he said. Listen.
Is this what it's going to be like covering you if you're president?
Yeah, it is.
We're going to have this kind of confrontation in the press room?
Okay, yeah, it is going to be like this.
Is he? Well, yeah, at least he was honest. He said, yes, it's going to be. Trump victory over the media here?
A short-term victory because he got caught and he doesn't want to be held to the same standards everybody else is. The media asked, where's the money that you donated to the veterans organizations? It had not been donated. You look at the dates on the checks that have been delivered now to the veterans organizations, the same day the Washington Post story came out.
Over half of them. Absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely. Ginny?
Hey, it hasn't hurt him so far, and nobody likes the media. No offense. Nobody
yes,
likes.
we're way down there.
Way down there. And so attacking the media hasn't hurt him. I don't see him stopping.
Standing at the podium and calling a reporter sleazy.
Well, what it brings up here is the fact that Donald Trump is trying to have one set of rules for him and another for everybody else. And I think this is just opening the door to that. And you're going to start to see more examples in his business life and other promises.
Too thin-skinned, do you think he is?
Even putting that aside. It worked for the primary and the base, but now you're opening the door to saying there's one set of rules for Donald Trump and there's one for everybody else. And I don't think voters like that.
Well, we have to take a break. It's unfortunate, but we have to take a break because this is commercial television.
We'll be back.
We'll be right back.